Hey guys, it's mid-September and the weather just started to kind of get that cool edge in the air, and my gosh, it's telling the screaming crappie. So I came out today and I came up to Racoon Lake, aka Cecil Hardin Lake. Thought, you know what, I'm gonna make a video about how I crappie fish because it's a little bit different than anything I've ever seen anybody else doing. First of all, with crappie, the thing to remember, they are a predator fish, a lot like a bass. They like to eat minnows and smaller fish. They'll eat worms and stuff too, but they really like minnows. So you want to give them something that looks like minnows. But there's a big difference in how they feed versus how a largemouth bass feeds. See, I kind of think of it like crappie are like a pack of wolves. There's a whole bunch of them that are going to swarm a food source, whereas like a largemouth bass is more like a grizzly bear. It's a lone hunter. It's going to be out there isolated by itself. It doesn't want a bunch of other fish around while it's hunting. It's a solo hunter. You'll find that they'll hit a lure in some ways that a largemouth won't, and vice versa. But when you find the pack of crappie, you're going to be on them. And how I like to do that is to start off. By the way, I'm not a fish finder guy. You know, if you like fish finders, great. That's one way to do it. But you know, I tell my kids I don't want them on screens all day. So if I come out here and stare at a screen while I fish, what kind of a hypocrite am I? I use a cast net though. And here's how I do it: is I come out and I will just start throwing my cast net in random places. And I learned this method by looking for shad, and I would occasionally come across these massive hauls of crappie. Now you can't keep the crappie you bring in the net, but you can turn right around, you can throw them in, and you can fish that spot. And that's exactly what I've done here today. Just take a look. Crappie can be very elusive fish. It's interesting because you'll have lakes that have a crappie population where you'll go out fishing and you swear that there wasn't a crappie in the lake certain times of the year. I had crappie in an aquarium. It was interesting because it had some catfish in there, had a bass in there, a couple of different, a lot of long-eared sunfish. The crappie would occasionally just go catatonic and lay on the bottom, and it wasn't for lack of health or feeding. It was just a period of inactivity they would go through, and I kind of have a feeling that's a little bit of what happens when the fish is just unavailable. Now, occasionally you will pull them up off the bottom of the cast net when you do it like that. Again, got to throw them back when you catch them like that, but at least you know where they are. When you're throwing your cast net, you want to find places with some structure to get near. Obviously, you don't want to get your net tangled up on it, but the pilings of bridges are great. Any choke points where a river maybe moves into a lake, areas where you have riprap. And I know this one seems counterintuitive, but I have a couple of lakes where the eroding banks are where you hammer the crappie. All right, now I can't keep these. I have to let these go because I caught them in a cast net, but this is letting me know the crappie are here. So now I know where the crappie are, so now I can concentrate on fishing them. Live minnow, number one, absolutely. You're gonna hammer them all day. You're gonna have a much easier time with live minnow than anything else. These little guys right here are close number two. Bobby Garland, soft plastic body with a weighted jig head. I like a black jig head. How you work these, basically you can do a straight retrieve where you just cast it out and slowly draw it back. Now today, that's not been working at all. I've been casting and retrieving, and I have not had a single bite working my jig that way today. Every bite I've had today, oddly enough, I have let it sink to the bottom and I tap it. Tap, tap, tap. And it just looks like a dying fish on the bottom. Took me me a minute to get the method here, but I was the straight retrieve, didn't get anything. I dropped it to the bottom and was slowly tapping and retrieving, and finally got on them. So you can do a straight retrieve, you can drop it down and just tap it. You can do that in the water column too. You can tap it up higher in the water column. Most of the time, that's how I have success with it. And the other option, and this one seems almost counterintuitive, but you can put a bobber on this. Most of the time, you wouldn't think of a bobber going well with a lure, but this is the exception. Crappie, because if the pack is feeding, they feel comfortable. They don't get turned off by soft plastic. They'll keep that in their mouth. They'll hit it pretty hard, they'll keep it, and you'll get a nice hook set off of a bobber. But you do need a little bit of a chop in the water, because that chop's gonna take the bobber, it's gonna raise it up and down, and it's gonna work your jig. Now, I've also not caught any that way today. I have tried, but you will find it's effective. I have caught a lot of fish that way. I think that's number 5 now. Now there's a couple other things I really love. I love ribbon-tail grubs. Also haven't caught anything on that today. But ribbon-tail grubs in murky water are just, I mean, I've had days where every single cast. For some reason, little farm ponds, that's where I have that work the best. I'm on a reservoir today. Reservoirs are a little persnickety sometimes, and this one in particular. But we're not gonna let that stand in the way. I got a nice little mess of fish here. I'm getting on now. If you're gonna try a cast net for the first time, I highly recommend doing a little bit of practice in the front yard. Rachel actually put together a really good video on that. I'll put a link somewhere, I don't know, right there, if you'd like to learn how to throw a cast net, because it is a skill that's satisfying. There's nothing more fun than throwing a cast net and pulling in a big mess of fish. Hey guys, I put a link in the comments for each one of these specific fishing lures I'm talking about today, and I'm also putting a link in there for one other, and it's my absolute favorite lure to catch crappie on. Again though, not every, doesn't work every time. Today didn't work, but steel shad. I love hammering crappie on a steel shad, and when it's working every cast, just like that ribbon tail grub. So I'm gonna put a link to all those different lures so you guys could go to it. It also gives a way to support the channel. We do get an affiliate link, a little bonus from Amazon on that. So it gives my wife a little bit of spending money. You a hungry one? By the way, if you're buying or selling a house in or around the Terre Haute area, make sure you contact Real Estate Rachel. Guys, I'm about done for the day. I think I'm gonna head back home and clean these fish up. If you'd like to see a how to clean crappie, how to clean and cook crappie video, let me know in the comments. I'd be glad to do that one. I may go ahead and grab the footage for it this evening, but I'm not gonna include it in this video. Thanks for coming along, watching guys. I hope you all had a great day. And I hope you catch a ton of crappie. Got that little guy too. He wanted to jig. Got jiggy with it. Na 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 na. Hey. Fishing with Aaron. Fishing with Aaron. Fishing with Aaron. You know, have a real good time. Fishing with Aaron. Fishing with Aaron. Fishing with Aaron. You know, have a real good time. Let it sink, tap, tap, tap.